Well, you're recognised as the longest-serving member of the Blake Seven cast, aren't you, playing Villa?
That's right. I did actually all 52 episodes. I was in the very first one, and then dear old Paul Darrow came into the second because he did 51 episodes. I did 52. So there we are.
Right, so you hold the record.
Quite proud of that, actually. And I did the 2 radio plays as well with Paul. So.
Oh, of course, yes. The Synderton Experiment the Sevenfold Crown.
The Sevenfold Crown. That's
yes.
right.
They've been released just recently, haven't they?
They have indeed. Yes.
I remember them on the radio, actually. I thought they were very, very well done, again, capturing that whole magic of that series.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because that was my first radio, the
really?
Synderton Experiment, yeah. No, the Sevenfold Crown was, I think. And I'd never done radio before, and I haven't done it since either, but hopefully I live in hope, so...
How did you actually first come to play the role?
Right, I'll tell you. Originally, I was in a Doctor Who story, 4 episodes of it, and it was called Doctor Who and the Sunmakers with Tom Baker.
Right.
And the director on that was a man called Pennant Roberts, and he was going to be one of the directors on the first season of Blake Seven. So, in a way, it was wheels within wheels. I was sent along to see the producer, David Maloney, and I got the job, which was wonderful, actually. And he said to me, would you be interested in doing a sort of 13-part episode, 13 episodes of a sci-fi series? So I said, oh, yes, of course. And he then said, well, we might do a second season. We don't know. Anyway, cut long story short, I went in and I did 52 episodes. So it was very nice. It was a great time as well. It sort of took up 4 years of my life. And I was a young man of 30 in those days, and I enjoyed it very much. And what a good team of people to work with. They're all good friends of mine still, and
a fantastic bunch of actors, really.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd all come from the theatre, and we all have many tales to tell.
Why do you think it is that the DVDs have been released in this way, and with the timing that they've had from last year and now? Is it a fan base thing? Is it the strength of the fan base of Blake Seven, or is it more down to the possibilities? Because I've heard rumours amidst that they're going to do a new mini-series of Blake Seven.
I don't know about that. I've heard rumours about that. I don't know whether they'd have me in it, because I don't think I can get into the costume anymore. But I suspect the fans have a lot to do with it, because after we'd finished the 3rd season, they were going to kill it off, and the fans sort of lobbied the BBC, and they came up with the 4th season. So I suspect, I don't know, you'd have to ask the fans, but I suspect they had a lot to do with the fact they wanted it on DVD, which it's easier to carry around, isn't it, and store. So.
Is it strange to think, from your point of view, having made the series back in 1978, that you could now be travelling, to a theatre job or whatever on the train, and there may be a student or a commuter who's sat with a laptop watching an episode of Blake Seven on DVD? Is that quite a surprising development?
It all surprises me now. DVDs themselves. I mean, this is something we sort of thought about. I think they even had something like a DVD in one episode of Blake Seven 25 years ago. But
wow.
we never really thought that it would happen, that you could store all that on a disc. So the whole idea of computers surprises me. I mean, I now can turn them on and turn them off, because I'm that generation, of course, that was brought up with an abacus. But I mean, it was amazing. The other day I was doing a voiceover, and there was a chap waiting to do a voiceover in another studio, and he said, I want to thank you. And I said, really? He said, yeah, because when I was at school, I used to watch you in Blake Seven when I was about 11, because he was some years younger than I am. And he said, it made me want to become an actor. So there we are. You can blame me for this poor guy's career, I guess. But it was rather nice, actually. Rather nice to sort of talk to someone like that, So. Yes, it was rather good for the ego as well.
I'm sure. Yeah. You seem to have a very healthy attitude towards it, because I know a lot of actors can get sort of locked into a particular role, and there's this horrible world of typecasting that's brought up by lots and lots. I spoke to Colin Baker not so long back, and he's sort of experienced a little bit of that. But I mean, is it something you just regard as part of the job, part of the career?
I'll tell you something. I think when I was younger, I was very channeled with my so-called career, and maybe to the detriment of, I don't want to go into it, but relationships, you name it. Yeah. I've reached a stage in my life, you have to have another life outside it. And I have a very strong hobby, which I don't want to bore you, but I'm a rambler. And weekends I go out rambling, and I lead groups of people on rambles as well with my group. I actually plot walks, and I lead them, and I get them lost. And so I have that as well. And acting is part of me, but it's not all of me. Do you know what I mean? My family and the rambling and just getting up in the morning is kind of important, you know. So
yes,
I see it for what it is. I enjoy it. I love it when I do it, but it's not the end of the world if I'm not doing it. Do you know what I mean? And if I feel, okay, maybe I've been typecast, maybe I'm never going to play King Lear, but that's not the end of the world either. I just enjoy it for what it is.
So it's a job, and
it's a job
you're
now.
A creative man who is doing sort of, I suppose, exercising his
the craft.
Artistic talents, his craft.
And it's an interpretive skill, you know. I mean, I admire writers. They're the ones I really admire. I mean, I'm reading a book about Shakespeare at the moment. I mean, there's the guy, you know, there's the business. I can't do that. It's an honour to do somebody's work, to interpret it, hopefully to the best of your ability. I enjoy that. But it's not the be-all and end-all of my life anymore. And I just want to say about rambling. Rambling is very much like being an actor, you know, because when you lead a walk, when you work in the theatre, you take an audience on a journey. When you lead a walk, you take a group of people on a journey.
Yes.
You have a script, you have a map, and they can both go terribly wrong, you know, and often do. I did a walk last week, and I took a wrong turning, and 20 people had to do an extra 2 miles. But there you are, we all get on, and we're still talking to each other.
Whereabouts? What sort of area of the country do you enjoy rambling in?
Okay, well, I mean, I live in London, so I go sort of to places like Kent. I go to into Berkshire and Sussex, and all within about a 40-50 mile radius of London, because we go by public transport, we go by train, usually mainline stations, and it's a great day out. And it's Canterbury Tales, you know. Everyone's got a story, and by God, some of them are going to tell you about it as well.
Lots of colour. Lots of colour. Yeah.
And it's part of. I think as an actor, it's good, you know, to mix with people from, forgive the pun, all walks of life, you know.
Yeah, totally. In terms of the writing, which you mentioned a moment ago, Terry Nation, when he created Blake Seven, seems to have created a sort of futuristic version of Robin Hood.
Yes.
Now, did you actually? Was that the way it was sold as a series to you, or did you take that into account when creating your own particular role as Villa?
When we originally went up for it, and you know, when we started it was going to be a sort of Dirty Dozen in space. Now it opened in '78. We actually started making it in '77, and it was actually quite violent, some of it, you know, and they decided they wanted to sort of tone that down a bit. So in the end, it sort of became a sort of Robin Hood in space. I mean, Blake was in a way a character who did no wrong. He was a bit of a sort of a priestly character in a way, and totally the good guy. Avon was the sort of one who would stab you in the back, but Blake wouldn't. So it was a sort of, yes, a clean-cut Robin Hood in space in a way. That's what it ended up as, I guess. Yeah. But I think originally the idea was a Dirty Dozen in space. But there was at that time in the 70s, there was a bit of an outcry about violence on television. I think with Starsky and Hutch and some of those series. So they decided, I believe, you'd have to ask them, but I believe they decided to tone it down a bit. I mean, in the first season, I stabbed somebody in the back, in fact, I think in the third episode, which, you know, we didn't get that later. And I must just tell you, I think it was around about the third season, we had this gun, which Avon had to have, and it was the most fantastic gun in the world. You just, or in the universe, rather. You know, you didn't even have to point it. It sort of worked and could kill people. So what did he do when he had to take out a Federation officer? He crept up behind him and hit him over the head with it.
You don't want to waste those props.
Absolutely.
It could break so easily. I know.
That's right.
BBC props and things.
Yeah.
Now, since Blake Seven, you've done an awful lot of theatre work. I mean, you must have done a lot of theatre work, I'm presuming, before Blake Seven as well.
Indeed.
But
yes.
Is that your preferred acting medium?
No, I like whatever turns up. But I suppose, I mean, as a lot of actors have probably said to you, in a way you're more in control as an actor when you go on stage. You know, it's not so electronic, isn't it? Unless the lights go out, you know, you're kind of more in control of what you're doing, and you've got a live audience there. And especially if it's comedy, you know, you're playing it along, and it can vary from night to night depending on different situations. And I suppose it's more of a challenge. I think it depends. I do enjoy film. I do enjoy TV, you know, good TV, and I'd love to do more of all of that.
Which one's the most compatible with the rambling?
Do you know, strangely enough, television, because a lot of my rambles I've been on, I realise I've actually been on location in some of these places, you know, with Blake Seven. So that's I suppose you could say that's a bit compatible with that. You know, if you go on location, it's a bit like being a rambler. Yeah.
So you end up in
mud somewhere, in chalk somewhere, you know,
ex-quarry pits and that kind of thing.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, you've made some appearances relatively recently in continuing dramas. That's what they call them these days, isn't it? The sort of soapy type dramas.
Indeed. Well, I've just actually appeared in EastEnders on last Monday. I arrived as the vicar. And,
was that the Reverend Stevens?
That's indeed, yes. And I come back again. I mustn't give too much away. I've signed the BBC Official Secrets Act, but I do appear again next Monday, and I appear again in February. Last Mondays I see little Mo, and it's about the baptism of her baby. So I'm not giving anything away. Next Monday I hopefully will be doing the baptism, as you will see, and I get to wear a very nice costume.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How did you find the experience of working on EastEnders? I mean, is the process involved, the logistics involved in that kind of TV drama? Has that changed over the years, do you think?
Yes, because in the old days, I suppose it was a hangover from live television, but we always sort of rehearsed quite a bit, and then we went into the studio and sort of did it. But of course, you turn up and you have a brief camera rehearsal and you do it very quickly, because they do 4 episodes a week, and very well they do too. And what a nice bunch of people, I have to say. All of them, very nice to me. Whether it was because I was wearing the cloth, I don't know. The dog collar, maybe that does something to people, but it was great actually playing the part, because as soon as you put that on, you suddenly feel, you're assuming the sort of presence of a vicar, So it's great fun. They wouldn't let me keep the costume, though.
Oh, rotters.
Yeah.
Did they let you keep any of the Blake Seven costumes?
Well, no. I did buy a pair of boots off them years ago, but they did give me one of the bracelets, and I gave it to my daughter, who at the time was about 5 or 6. I'm afraid it got broken. It's scandalous, but there we are.
In terms of the actual sort of the roles in things like EastEnders, you're sort of joining an existing company.
Yes.
Does that make I suppose from your point of view as an actor, does that make the experience more, how can I put this, realistic or challenging?
It's more challenging, and because of course they all know each other. They've set their characters up. I suddenly came in out of the blue, literally. But then I guess that's how it would be in life if you were a vicar turning up and you hadn't met these people before. You don't know them that well. I suppose as a character, you only can do what you're given, with a script. I mean, who knows? He could be a karate expert or fluent in Japanese. I don't know. We haven't had that yet. But you just deal with what you've got and try and make it as real as possible and hope it looks okay. I'd love to do some more episodes and find out more about the character.
It'll be interesting. Well, I hope you do come back with that. I've also noted you appeared in Casualty and London's Burning opposite Gareth Thomas.
No, that's not quite true. I was in London's Burning. London's Burning. I was in, but not with Gareth. But I did do Casualty with Gareth. We played a couple of ex-footballers with Stephen Yardley, in fact, who'd also been in Blake Seven many years ago. Yeah. And in fact, in the Casualty episode, Gareth has a heart attack and eventually dies. But we're 3 footballers, not current footballers, but footballers from the past, who'd taken a bribe to lose the FA Cup. Oh. And we did that about 5 years ago now, 6 years ago, even more. It was a great episode to do, actually. Great fun to see Gareth again and Stephen.
Was that down to lucky casting, or do you think there was an element of fandom in the production
There
team?
was an element of fandom with our director, who'd actually worked on Blake Seven, and he wanted to get Paul into it, I think, into the episode as well, but unfortunately Paul wasn't available. But I think he was a great Blake Seven fan, as well as having worked on it, and a great mate. So Michael Morris, his name is, and he had us on that, and it was fun, good to do.
I've got the copy of the Blake Seven DVD. Series 2 in front of me, a complete series, 5-disc set.
Yes.
Now, I haven't actually watched the features as yet, the special features, which always appear on DVDs.
That's right,
these days.
They do indeed, yes.
But I note from one of them that there's a clip from a 1979 edition of the Multicoloured Swap Shop, and our breakfast presenter, Maggie Philbin, of course, one of the old mainstays of the Swap Shop.
Yes,
so
yes.
Do you actually have any memories of that? Did you actually appear in that
I
particular
didn't.
edition?
I didn't appear on the Swap Shop. I think that was Gareth and Jacqueline Pearce. As I remember. Alas, they didn't ask me to appear on it, but I certainly remember Swap Shop. Yeah. But I haven't got the DVD yet. I'm looking forward to seeing it, to seeing those sort of little outtake things on it that they have.
They're very, very good, aren't they?
Yeah,
I enjoyed them immensely on the first first box set that came out. That was really was splendid. Yeah. It's really nice to see all of these episodes sort of nicely put together, and a really nice quality to the actual images on the DVD discs themselves, which is really, really good. Do you think, have they actually, to your knowledge, done any sort of CGI type effects on any of the episodes?
What does that mean? Sorry.
I think the computer-generated... they've been tinkering with quite a few lately, I think.
I have to say, because I'm not that technical. As I was saying, it's taken me 10 years to turn a computer on and turn it off. But I've actually got a computer which plays DVDs, and I watched the first lot, and I thought, my God, the picture looks so good here, much better than I remember it, all those years ago. Yeah. So it's a possibility that they may well have done something on that with the colour and everything. But I'm not a technical wizard, not yet anyway.
And looking to the future, Michael, will you be venturing towards Berkshire any time soon with any of the rambling, or perhaps with any theatre work at all?
With my group, I hope so. I'm trying to think of that. It's the remains of a Roman city you've got there on the edge of Berkshire.
Silchester,
yes.
Yeah.
The last time I was in Silchester. Theatre-wise, I haven't got anything lined up theatre-wise at the moment, but I certainly have played Berkshire in the past. I was at Sonning, and I did theatre. Outside Edge there, and I was at Bracknell, and I did a play by Dennis Potter called Sufficient Carbohydrate. And I was at Windsor many, many years ago with Rupert Davies, who you probably have never heard of. But
Maigret.
Yes, was Maigret.
Yes.
And we did Voyager on My Father there. So,
wow.
But I'd love to come back to Berkshire.
Yes. I'm sure we'd love to welcome you. You never know, they might give you the freedom of the county, whatever it is they do.
You never know.
It could happen.
Yes.
Well, best of luck with all that you're doing with the Blake 7 DVD releases. And thank you indeed for sparing the time to speak to me today, and I do hope we see you again as the Reverend Stevens in Eastenders as well.
I hope so, and it's been a great pleasure.
Lovely to talk to you. All the best, Michael. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.